Today I'm talking about seeing rightly. As a child in school, I had lots of difficulties in school growing up in elementary school. Now, the higher I went up in education, the more I loved it, the more I got into it, the better I did. But in elementary school, wow, it was rough, you know. And I remember in 4th grade, there was a boy by the name of Ricky. And Ricky was a friend of mine. And he came to school, and he was wearing glasses, you know, with the black rims. And so I was getting lots of attention in the classroom. And I was like, wow, can I see what those are like when I put those on? You've probably done that before, right? Where you've put on someone's glasses to see, oh, how do they see? I put on Ricky's glasses. And for the first time, I could see clearly. I didn't know that I couldn't before. Everything was blurry. Without my glasses, things are extremely blurry. It looks like an impressionistic painting. It looks like a Monet painting. So I can see shapes and colors, but not clarity. So I had been having trouble in school, right? Well, I couldn't see. And I couldn't see the board. There were a lot of things I couldn't see. How did that get missed? Until I tried on Ricky's glasses. And armed with that information, suddenly I realized the world could be different because I realized I could see differently. I realized, wow, I've been seeing things incorrectly. But I didn't know it until I caught a new vision. And so I remember that year, my mom setting up an appointment to go see the eye doctor. I'd never been to the eye doctor before. And so, you know, he tested me out and tried these different lenses. Do you see better this way or this way? He'd have me read letters and ordered me some glasses. And I remember getting those glasses, these black rim nylon glasses. I remember wearing those, and I was with my mom. And we walked out of the doctor's office with my new glasses on. And for the first time, when I looked at trees, I could see the individual leaves. Now, mind you, if I got right up to a tree, I could see individual leaves right up close. But I had never been able to just look outside and see individual leaves before. Everything was so clear and so crisp. And my mom still remembers this. I was standing there like, look at that, and look at that. In 4th grade, it was the first time for me to see clearly. I think that's a good metaphor for our lives. Some of us get so used to thinking a certain way and seeing a certain way, we think that's the way it is. Until we try on another perspective, until we try on a new vision, until we see it with new sight, we don't realize how skewed our sight has become. During this whole time of when we're looking at social injustice, looking at Black Lives Matter, looking at how people are treated, I'm educating myself, as I'm sure you are as well, and trying to understand and get a new vision for what is happening, to see things clearly. There are times in my life when I think, oh, things are going really, really bad. And I'm seeing things through this lens of things going bad. And then when I shift my vision, when I shift my thinking, I see things differently. I see that, oh, there is so much good that is happening. And there is so much that I can do to help in this process. How are you seeing? How is your vision? Eric Butterworth was a Unity minister, author, very famous speaker and person. And he said that we are not here to make things right, but to see things rightly. What he was talking about, I believe, is seeing things as Spirit sees them, to see things from the perspective of God, to see things rightly. And when we see from that perspective, then we respond differently. We act differently. So when I encounter somebody, instead of being defensive or fearful or thinking that they're about to hurt me or do something bad, what if I shift my perception? What if I shift the way I view them and view them as they really are, as the presence of God? It's not always easy. This world is filled with invitations to see things wrongly. We are often caught up in our reactions and in our feelings and going by what we think is right and going by our past vision. But the truth is, we cannot grow into the spiritual beings that we truly are. That's a paradox. We are spiritual beings, and we need to allow ourselves to fully grow into being those spiritual beings. Well, isn't that a paradox? If we're already that, how can we grow into it? Well, we grow into it by releasing those things that do not belong to what we really are. Again, with my glasses, they can easily get smudged and things begin to become distorted. Some of you were making comments when I was wearing those goggles. Those were bikers' goggles that I was wearing for 10 weeks while I was waiting for these glasses to come in. Glasses, if they get covered with stuff, it can really change our vision. In the same way, the material conditioning of this world and our experiences that are based on fear and our way of seeing things can greatly cover up who we really are, so that we can't see clearly. We can't see clearly that presence of God that is wanting to live itself as us. Again, Eric Butterworth stated that in referring to the Christ, that the Christ, which we see each one of us as living that, the Christ, Eric Butterworth said, the Christ is the mind of God individualized. The Christ is the mind of God individualized. That means that when I am really seeing and knowing from God mind, from the presence of God, then I am expressing as the Christ. Some of us want to change the world, but we haven't changed our vision. I found that if I have my glasses off and I'm trying to work on something, it's very, very difficult for me to do it because I don't have the right vision. Some of us are trying to up-level to a higher way of living without up-leveling our vision. We try to up-level to prosperity, to health and wholeness, to justice and equity, to fairness, to living our lives as the presence of God. We try to up-level to that, but we haven't raised our vision. Our vision is so small, it will explode as we try to reach this higher level. I remember Michael Beckwith talking about, really wanting to up-level to a higher way of living. And if a person did not have a higher vision, their vision could not contain it. Have you up-leveled your vision? In the month of June, the 12 powers are powers that we look at each month. In the month of June, it's the power of imagination, to image. Imagination is the power to perceive, imagine, image what it is that we are wanting to project out. Are you imagining things going wrong? Are you imagining disaster? Or are you using that power of vision, that power of imagination to see in a new way? I was reading in the book of Revelation. It's the last book of the Bible, the Christian Bible, and written by John. And so chapter 21, verse 1, he said, "Behold, I saw a new heaven and a new earth." I like the way that the Voice translation said this, where it says, everything above me was new. Everything below me was new. Everything around me was new. I'm talking about having that kind of spirit-filled, spirit-led vision, a vision where we see all things new. And when we see things from a new perspective, then we can live differently. You are living according to your vision. Each one of us is living according to the way we see things. If we want to see the bad in people, we will find it. If we want to see the presence of God in people, we will find it. If we want to see lack and scarcity and fear, we will find it. If we want to see abundance and prosperity, we will find it. Jesus said, "Be it done to you according to your belief." And I would say that your belief, your vision, is informed by your belief. Your belief is the power of faith, which we talk about in the month of January. We talk about it all year, but our vision is influenced by what we believe because we look for those things that we believe. So if you want to shift your vision, begin working on the level of your beliefs. What beliefs are holding you back? What things are holding you back from really expressing yourself as the presence of God? Do you have some sort of belief that you are better than others? Do you have some belief that you're worse than others? Do you have a belief that, I can't accomplish that? What is your belief system? Our vision is influenced by our faith, by our beliefs. I'm asking you to up-level your vision individually, collectively, as a spiritual community. Soon, we will be talking with you, we, referring to the board of this spiritual community and myself, we will be talking with you more about the strategic planning that we are looking at and want to involve you in, want to get your feedback, want to get your ideas so that we can together develop a strategy for the way things are now and for our future. I'm really grateful for our board and the visioning that we are coming up with to create a pathway that people can look at classes and events and a pathway to transformation. Because that's what we're about. We're in the transformation business. We want to develop a platform for New Thought classes and speakers. We want to efficiently use our staff and resources. And we want to continue to look at ways of producing revenue that will further the ministry of this church. Will you vision with us? I'm asking you to envision with us. And then, can we envision together as a society, as a country, for equity, for justice, for seeing the highest and best in people and working towards that? Can we envision together living the life, the presence of God as us, and be those agents of light and love in the world? Can you envision that? If you can envision it, then you can be it. It's time for us to see things rightly. To not be seduced by the things that can worry us or the things that are trying to trap us, but to come from a spiritual vision, knowing we are the presence of God in action. You and I are that presence in action. Let us do that together as we see things rightly. And I would now like to invite you to join me in some affirmations. If you would repeat after me. I know where I am, God is. And I know who I am, God is. And I know how I see, God is. And how I see others, God is. Where I am, God is. And I see things rightly.